Hi, today we'll explore a fascinating question. What did it mean to be a writer before there were bookstores, bestsellers, or even a reading public? Long before copyright and royalties, writing was not a job, it was a privilege, a duty, and often a tool of power. Let's journey from ancient Greece to the Renaissance and discover how writers lived, worked, and found success without ever selling a single book. Here's the core idea. In pre-capitalist societies, there were no professional authors selling books for profit. Literacy was rare, limited to elites, priests, nobles, court officials, and scholars. People wrote not to entertain or earn money, but to serve faith, state, or social duty. Most importantly, no one was just a writer. A person was first a soldier, a monk, a diplomat, and only then, perhaps, a poet or historian. Let's begin in the ancient world. In ancient Greece, poets didn't write books. They performed live at banquets or during religious festivals. Their poetry preserved history and taught values, like living textbooks. In Rome, the shift was dramatic. Under Emperor Augustus, poets like Virgil and Horace were supported by the state, but in return, their work had to praise the empire. Writing became political, and dissent could be deadly, as was the case for Seneca, forced to take his own life. In this world, the pen served power, and power held the sword. In the Middle Ages, the church became the guardian of knowledge. Monks worked quietly in scriptoria, copying manuscripts, not creating new ones. For them, writing was an act of devotion. Accuracy mattered more than originality. But change began in growing cities. Lay intellectuals, notaries, lawyers, teachers, started using classical texts for practical purposes: law, governance, education. This was the first step toward secular, non-religious writing, and a new kind of literate man. By the Renaissance, a new figure emerged, the courtier writer. Think of Machiavelli or Ariosto, brilliant minds who served powerful families like the Medici. Patronage gave them stability and status, but also limits. Art became part of court life, beautiful, yes, but often shaped by the prince's wishes. Then came academies, private groups like the Accademia della Crusca, where writers shared ideas, debated language, and gained recognition from peers, not just patrons. This was the birth of a literary community, a quiet revolution preparing the ground for modern authorship. Without bestseller lists or Amazon rankings, how did writers know they mattered? Success was symbolic, not financial. If a text was copied many times, that meant it was important. Then, if other writers imitated your style, that was a way to show appraisal. Moreover, if you received a crown of laurel, a noble title, or a seat in an academy, then you were worth real honor. Last, but not least, appearing in other forms of art and being quoted as a paradigm, just like Virgil and his wheel, meant your legacy was secure and you were a trusted authority for centuries. In short, it's like the chicken and the egg. Your success meant lasting prestige, not quick profit. In conclusion, what changed? Two things: the printing press and rising literacy. For centuries, writers depended on institutions, church, state, or nobility. But with the novel and a growing reading public, something new became possible: the independent author. Now, a writer could speak directly to readers, and be paid by them, not patrons. This shift created the figure we know today, the professional author. Yet remember, this freedom is recent. For most of history, writing was never just about words. It was about who held the power to write, and why.